So, good evening. This is the continuation of the first video on construction of sentences and the mistakes that we are prone to make while constructing sentences in English grammar and literature. Most importantly, or more importantly, English grammar. So, as I have already discussed in the first video on the mistakes that we tend to make in terms of verbs or tenses rather. Now we shall shift our focus to the other or the next category, that is pure errors that occur while translating. See, we all are Bengalis, so we think in Bengali. Most often we think in Bengali. We don't think in English, do we? No. So when we are writing a sentence in English, our automatic instinct is to think in Bengali and to translate that to English. But this leads to major mistakes, thus causing red marks in our copies. So what we have to do is to come out of this very wrong strategy of translating the Bengali thought into an English sentence. As I have told you in my video on spoken English, you have to learn to think in English. The same goes with writing or written English. You have to learn to think, if not entirely, but partly in English. How so? Let's see. I will take the example of a few sentences in order to exemplify this point. Let's take a sentence. I'll just say the Bengali version and then I will tell the English one. যারা সমাজে পিছিয়ে পড়েছে তাদের আমাদের শ্রদ্ধা করা উচিত. So what will you do when you write this sentence in English? So this thought comes to your mind, it strikes your mind. যারা সমাজে পিছিয়ে পড়েছে তাদের আমাদের শ্রদ্ধা করা উচিত. So as you write, what will you say? Those people who have fallen behind in society, we should respect them. A few of you who have a better understanding of the language may say that we should respect those people who have fallen behind in society. Now, if the correct English translation is to be given, neither of this will qualify the litmus test. Neither of this will qualify the litmus test of correction. What will be the most appropriate, the most suitable translation? We should respect the downtrodden people of the society. Now you may argue with me that, ma'am, you said jara shomaje pichiye poreche. So where does this part of the sentence go to? Where does it vanish? Because it was a complex sentence in terms of the Bengali language, but when you are saying we should respect the downtrodden people of the society, then you are converting the sentence to a simple one. How so? Now I have asked you to translate the sentence. I have not asked you to copy the sentence in English language. So it is more of a transcreation than translation. So the meaning of the sentence needs to be the same. Let the language be a bit altered. It doesn't matter. So we should respect, we should pay respect to the downtrodden. You can write deprived, you can write exploited people of the society. Right? So in this way we will see that many Bengali sentences which are complex or jotil will become simple or সরল in English language. Okay? Now the next one. যেসব গাছগুলো শুকিয়ে এসছে আজকে তাদের একটু জল দাও. Those plants which have dried up, give them some water today. I have seen this kind of sentences in the answer scripts of students. All the sentences which I am presenting in front of you today are not concocted from my own brain. They are all products or samples which I have gathered, collected, from various answer scripts which I have been checking for the last few months. Okay, so please water the plants which have dried. Why can't I say simply, please water the dried plants of the garden? So যে গাছগুলো শুকিয়ে এসছে তাদের জল দাও. In Bengali it is okay, the জটিল বাক্য, but in English we can simply say, please water the dried plants today. So you are always under this obligation, you are under this compulsion, you are under this impression that you have to make a copy paste kind of translation when you are attempting to do so in English, from Bengali to English. Rather, on the contrary, you should try to think that I need to express the meaning explicitly. It does not matter if the sentence structure changes. As long as the meaning remains the same, everyone is okay with an alteration in the construction, right? Now, the next one. যে শহরগুলি দূষণের শিকার সেখানে সমীক্ষা করে দেখা গেছে ... It is a very famous line that you people need in the editorial letter when it is on this topic of global warming, ozone layer depletion, and whatever there is in the metro cities, the pollution is enhancing, increasing, rising. Then this kind of thoughts, they crop up in your mind. যে শহরগুলি দূষণের শিকার সেখানে সমীক্ষা করে দেখা গেছে. And when you attempt an English translation, what do you write? The cities where the pollution is high, the cities which have fallen prey to acute pollution, there we notice. No. You know? Circumlocution. In Bengali we say naak bed diye kan dhara. In English we say circumlocution. Why? We can simply say a recent survey of the cities subjected to high pollution, prone to high pollution. A recent survey of the polluted cities, a recent survey of the excessively polluted cities. Just see how I have crunched it. A recent survey of the cities prone or subjected to acute pollution. A recent survey of the highly polluted cities reveals, shows, upholds, elucidates, illustrates. So the quality of my English rises up. So am I being able to explain to you how to crunch it? Can you understand this mechanism of crunching? What do you want to say? Okay, now this was basically, look at the three sentences. Number one, যারা সমাজে পিছিয়ে পড়েছে, যেসব গাছগুলি শুকিয়ে এসছে, যেসব শহরগুলি দূষণের শিকার. What did we do? We use some participial adjective. Polluted city, downtrodden people, dried plants. Participial adjectives is what we used in order to express ourselves concisely, precisely, without changing the meaning, without transforming the meaning. Now I shall experiment with verbs. Let's see how. যে শিশুগুলি পার্কে খেলছে তারা হঠাৎ একটা বিকট শব্দ শুনে আতঙ্কিত হলো. The children who were playing in the park suddenly got afraid on hearing a loud noise. Class 7 to 10 will make this construction, 90% of the students. 90% of the students will just write the sentence that I right now said. This sentence comes in their mind. যে শিশুগুলি পার্কে খেলছিল, the children who were playing in the park, হঠাৎ একটি বিকট শব্দ শুনে আতঙ্কিত হলো. Were afraid on, were scared, were frightened when they suddenly heard a noise, a loud noise. Now how can we crunch it? The children playing in the park were scared on hearing a loud noise. I will not say the children who were playing in the park, the children playing in the park. What do I do? Present participle. So now I am again crunching it with the use of participle, right? And I will not say when they heard a noise, on hearing a noise. When they heard a noise, on hearing a noise, right? Now, যারা কথা বলছিল, very important sentence, please pay attention, যারা কথা বলছিল তাদের প্রশাসন শাস্তি দিয়েছে. So what do you do when you say this kind of a thought crops up in your mind? যারা কথা বলছিল তাদের প্রশাসন শাস্তি দিয়েছে. So what do you do when you translate it in English? 90% of the student, those people who were talking were punished by the authority. Those people who were talking were punished by the authority. If you want to cross-check whether I am right or wrong in assuming your response to this translatory attempts, pause my video, do your translation, come back and see how many of you do it differently from what I have done. Maybe 5 to 6%. The rest will fall into the mouse trap. Okay, so now I will tell you how to actually make it short and make it smart. We can say the authority will punish the people engaged in conversation. The authority will punish the people engaged in conversation. It makes it precise, smarter, and good to listen to, mellifluous, right? So, in this way, you have to learn how to control your thought process. The moment the thoughts are cropping up in your mind, they are sending vibrations of the Bengali language, which is very obvious and which is very normal. But you have to learn how to make it compact, how to manipulate it in English in order to make it sound better, make it sound smarter, and make it sound more concise. Because if you are writing a sentence which looks like the trailing tail of a snake, then obviously the listener doesn't find it quite enticing, engrossing, or interesting, right? So you have to learn to not think in Bengali when you are writing an English sentence, because this promptitude of thinking in Bengali actually sends or stimulates or generates a very bad tendency of translating the sentence verbatim into English, which creates the chaos. Okay, now another one. Okay, now one thing. You, in that sentence which I told you, will be punished by the authority. That sentence you can also write in this way: the people who were talking will be punished. The people who were talking will be punished. You don't need to write by the authority, because remember, the thief was caught. Was arrested. You don't need to write by the police, because only the police is bestowed with the right of arresting a thief. So the people who were talking were punished. You don't need to write this phrase by the authority, because that is obvious. You cannot go and punish someone just like that. You don't have the authority. You don't have the right. Now, next one. আমার আজ আর মনে পড়ে না মায়ের কথা. So again, pause my video, think of the answer and come back. So how many of you have done in this way? Today I don't remember my mother anymore. Right? 90%. 5% may have done it. I have forgotten my mother. Right? So 95% done. The remaining 5 or maybe 3%. Let me give you the idea. Can we write in this way? My mother's memories have faded into obscurity. My mother's memories have faded into obscurity. obscurity. So the same meaning in the Bengali sentence is now generating something in your heart. So when I read a sentence in English, I need to feel something. It should not just be a dry, W-R-Y, a dry translation, dry and right translation. It should evoke some kind of emotion in your heart. So just for that reason, we need to shift our focus to the emotional content of the sentence rather than on the grammatical infrastructure of the sentence, if I may use that word. The grammatical skeleton is not as important as the emotional content, while setting your first focus or first lens on the activity of translating a sentence. Grammar comes later in this case. First comes the emotional content. Today I don't remember my mother anymore. Okay, I will give you 5 out of 10. But if you write that my mother's memories have faded into obscurity today, 9.5 out of 10. That half number is reserved for someone who can think of something even better. Okay, so next, another kind of sentence that we can take into consideration. অনেকেই বিশ্বাস করেন যে এই দুর্ঘটনার পেছনে ওনার হাত আছে. So many people believe that Ram Sam Jodu Modu is responsible or is to be blamed for this crime, for this accident. So I hope you pause the video and come up with some new ideas. Okay, so অনেকেই বিশ্বাস করে, many people believe that that person is to be blamed for this accident. how to change it. Many people are under the impression, we can write, that he is responsible, he is accusable for this crime. You can also write that he is responsible for this crime is believed by many. He is believed to be the culprit by many people. He is believed to be the culprit by many people. So the same emotional content has now become so short and concise in terms of expression. Right. Now, the next slot of sentences I will do in the next video, otherwise it will become too long and very difficult to upload, as you know. So this much for this one, to be continued in the third part.